What's going on, guys? Cameron here. Jacob is along with me, and we are doing another video here for you guys here on the channel. This time, it is for our top 5 horror movies. This one's going to be exciting because we don't know as much about this one for each other as we did
No,
the MCU movies. So it's going to be
which
different.
is coming
So,
out Wednesday.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it is coming out Wednesday, so be prepared. Um, so this is going to be the slashers portion of our name.
Yeah.
So we did superheroes. Now it's time for slashers. I mean, technically, right? I mean, unless
Mhm.
we have slashers in every single slot here. Um,
No, I don't.
no,
At least I don't.
me neither. Me neither.
I got a couple. Got a couple slasher movies.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So let's just get right into it. Yeah. We just got off doing a long MCU video, so we're just gonna do a short
Yeah.
one here. As we'll do it as quick as we can because I know a lot of people's attention spans here on YouTube isn't as big as it used to be. But before we get started, please like and subscribe, all that stuff. Follow us on our links. Socials are down below. Of course, our new Twitter up top, as always. And yeah, we'll get straight into it. So, our top 5 horror movies of all time. This is our opinions, our top 5. It's not like we came together and made an entire list. This is
Yeah.
our own top 5s that we're going to
Hmm.
go and talk about. So, let me start with my number 5 since Jacob started us off on the
Okay.
MCU one.
All
Um,
right.
so, my number 5 is the
Mm-hmm.
2018 version of Halloween.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Um, the original Halloween is a classic, right?
Mhm.
One of the better horror movies of all time. The 2018, a lot of people were excited about it. At the time that it came out, I was not a big horror guy. I really didn't care. But as I've
Yeah.
gotten older, I've started liking horror movies a lot more, and I've started getting more into it. So by the time I got into horror movies, I checked this one out. This was the first one I checked out, the 2018 version of Halloween, and I must say I thoroughly enjoyed it. It had a lot of callbacks to the original. It brought back to, and it was also a little bit of a palate cleanser because of all the other bad Halloween movies that came before it. It kind of just restarted everything fresh, and
Hmm.
it kickstarted that trilogy that came out. Um, and so I just think it was done very, very well because we all know how dangerous Michael is, and the whole, him, being into his, like, uh, Laurie being his sister was all debunked and stuff, and thank God for
Yeah.
that, right? And so it just didn't make sense within the continuity of the story. So I'm glad that was kind of canceled off. But the whole, you know, beginning scene where when he gets off that bus and he starts killing people and people realize, oh my God, Michael's out and about. This is going to be really bad. And the badass that Laurie Strode has turned into. Paranoid for a good reason, right? But
Hmm.
also really, really badass. And I do think Jamie Lee Curtis played a very veteran Laurie Strode very well. I mean, coming back
Hmm.
into that role of Laurie had to feel good for her. Close some loose ends for her. I just
Yeah.
think all around, I think it was just an enjoyable watch. It was fun seeing Michael just being a creepy little bastard, just being going into the shadows once again, and it was just a heck of a time. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's why it's my number 5. Now,
Okay.
what's yours? I think ours is going to be very, very different. But
Yeah.
what's your
We
number
might have
5?
a movie or two in there. We'll see.
Yeah.
My number 5 is Jeepers Creepers,
Wow.
the first one,
Okay.
not the other three terrible ones.
Yes. Yeah.
Or
How about
the
those
second one's not that
peepers,
bad. They're,
bitch? I wish we had this channel to review that shit movie. I wish we had it. But anyway, continue.
oh, what a fun video.
Yeah, it would have been great.
Um, yeah. So Jeepers Creepers one. Um, is this like top five best horror movie of all time? No, probably
No.
not. Um, but it's one of the first horror movies that I saw that really started to get me into horror. And yeah, I love this movie. Justin Long is great. I can't remember who plays his sister, but she's also great. And the Creeper to me is one of the most underrated horror villains. Like
Mhm.
this, the backstory is really cool about him being in hibernation and coming out and just killing everybody and eating them and eating them and taking their body parts and whatever he wants.
Yeah.
In this case, Justin Long's character, he wanted his eyes. So yeah, I love this movie, and every time I watch it, it's cheesy, but every time I watch it, I just have so much fun with it.
Yeah.
And I love the ending. The ending of we were talking about the video that's coming out Wednesday. We're talking about Thanos being the bad guy, essentially won. That's what happens in this movie. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers. The creeper wins, and he eventually takes his eyes by the end of the movie. So yeah, I love that movie. It's just such a cool and dark ending. And unfortunately, the second one's not that bad. The second one's even cheesier.
Hmm.
With have you seen the second one? The
I
second
haven't, I haven't
Jeepers
even seen the
Creepers?
first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh Lord! So
Yeah.
you got a bad experience.
Yeah. I got
Only
it.
seeing
Yeah.
Reborn.
The first Jeepers Creepers movie I watched was Reborn, which is not a good
Oh Lord!
starter movie for me.
You,
But
that's all right. That's on your list to watch the first Jeepers
yes,
Creepers.
yes, I
That one's
do.
actually good.
Yeah. Like I
Um,
said, I just recently got into horror movies, so I'm behind on a lot of stuff. But like the main
yeah,
movies, I'm caught up on.
yeah.
But
So unfortunately, the second one's not that bad, but unfortunately, the third and fourth are terrible. So it's just the Creeper, at least for now, seems to be dead with them just driving that franchise into the ground. But hopefully somebody comes back and does the Creeper justice because he's an awesome villain. So yeah, that's my number five.
that's a surprising number five. I mean, yeah, it's not like you said, it's not going to be on everyone's all time list, but
No.
it's just personal preference.
Hmm.
My number four is the OG Scream, the very first Scream.
Okay.
That is a classic. I just rewatched it around Halloween time because
Yep.
I needed a little bit of a refresher. I hadn't seen it in so long. Um, it it's crazy because watching the newer Screams, and we're gonna talk about the newer Scream, the one that's coming out pretty soon. We're gonna talk about that in a separate video. We'll talk about that,
Yeah.
promise. But
Yeah. All that
um,
drama.
all the drama, yeah. But I going back and seeing all the young versions, seeing Neve Campbell so just young, and seeing David Arquette as young as he is, and Courtney Cox, and just seeing all that and getting to where we are now, it's kind of surreal. But it's also it's really good movie. Like
Hmm.
it's cheesy, sure, like Jeepers Creepers, and it's got that 80s 90s nostalgia, whatever. Um, but the main star of this movie is Matthew Lillard. Like, I forgot how good he was. Like, he's just so over the top obnoxious, right? Like as soon as you hear him start talking, like, that's the killer. He's the killer. Like, immediately. But
Hmm.
at other points you're like, is he really though? Like, is it a dead
Hmm.
giveaway? He is.
He's Matthew Lillard.
But
He's an underrated actor.
he very
Um,
much is.
he was even in Five Nights at Freddy's, which I didn't care for at
I liked
all.
it a little bit better because I was a FNAF
I
fan
thought
growing up.
he was great in it. I thought he was great in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Hmm.
And everybody kind of the most thing people talk about if you're not a horror fan is him playing Shaggy, which was perfect casting
Yeah,
in the old Scooby Doo movies.
it was.
Yeah, he's an underrated actor. Another movie that he's in that nobody really talks about, it's him and Seth Green. Him, Seth Green, and there's another actor I can't think of his name right now. It's a comedy called Without a Paddle.
Oh,
Uh,
I thought you were talking about Scooby Doo too, because
no,
Seth Green's in Scooby Doo too.
oh,
Because isn't he's like Velma's love interest in that movie? I'm like,
yeah,
Scooby Doo too. Yeah, no.
yeah, but yeah, that's a great movie too. Without a Paddle, with
Yeah.
the yeah,
It's good, and for people who are into slashers, it's actually like surprisingly written well for that time, and it's surprising how like no one expected there to be two killers, and they made it work out so well. Like, you think
mhm,
Stu's dead, or not Stu? You think that Billy or what's his name? I'm blanking
Billy,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, Billy's. Yeah, you think Billy's dead, and you think Stu's the killer, but in reality, it's Billy and Stu. So
Hmm.
I think it's just an all time classic slasher, and
Well, it's what
it's really gory too. It's surprisingly gory for its time.
it's what resurrected the slasher genre.
It
Because
is.
like you had the you know Halloween in '78 kind of started the '80s craze
Right.
with Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday movies. So in the '90s it was kind of dead, the slasher genre, and then Wes Craven with Scream brought it back, and then that's when you started getting the 2000 slashers and everything that were a lot of the time copycatting what Scream was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you still see it now. I mean, a movie that we recently saw at Thanksgiving, which I really enjoyed,
Mm-hmm. I
it
did
had
too.
Scream elements in it. And there was a lot of times it felt like a Scream movie, and in a good way.
Yeah.
But you still even now like what Scream came out in let's say '96. There's still movies that are have influences from Scream, so it just shows you how iconic it is.
Yeah. And it's just a fun time, honestly.
Hmm.
What's your number 4?
So my number four is Insidious.
Ah, I forgot fucking Insidious. Why is this not in my top 5? Fuck. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, well we gotta redo this video.
Yeah, we gotta
No,
redo it.
Insidious one, yeah. Um, I could have put Insidious two. I don't look. Insidious two probably just missed my. It's probably in the top 10, but not top five. Yeah, I love this movie. It's one of the to me it's one of the best horror movies of the past 15 years. It came out in 2010, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a great haunting movie, and it's a different take on it too. Like
And
we've
it's
seen
totally different.
yeah, we've seen possession movies and all that, but the way they tell it with the further and it's just it's such a unique take. It still is now to me a
Mhm.
fresh take on the possession subgenre of horror, and the performances are great. Um, the boy, what's his name, Ty
Ty
Simpkins.
Simpkins. Yep.
Yeah, he was great in Insidious Red Door, and he's also even as a kid he's great in this movie too.
Yep.
And yeah, this was one of my all time favorites, number four, and a movie that I've seen it a lot of times, but it's still very I don't know it's just eerie. It's not like jump scare. Oh, that was scary. I don't know. The whole movie just makes it feel uncomfortable watching it.
It's very cheesy too, but it's like a good
Hmm.
cheesy. Like
Hmm.
it's not like slapstick comedy. It's more like slapstick horror, but in a
Yeah.
good way. Um,
Hmm.
and it's funny you say it's like a different take on the possession genre. Like you expect like children to be possessed and attack their parents or whatever, but this is a
Hmm.
kid that goes into a coma and it has a red-faced monster chasing him in his dreams. Like that's totally different and not like something that's never been done before.
Hmm.
And one of the most famous jump scares is in that movie at the
Yep.
table right behind Patrick
Yep.
Wilson's shoulder. One of the most
Yep.
famous jump scares. That shit got me the first time I watched that film.
Hmm.
Incredible. And yeah, I don't know why
Another
I didn't put it on my top 5. I'm so mad I didn't. But I don't know why I
where
forgot.
you just which
If
you just
if
gotta
any
just say you're taking out one. Which one are you taking out? That's your honorable mention.
uh
Because I forgot about that. I do have an honorable mention that I can go ahead and say real quick.
I'll
That
go ahead
just
and
missed
take I'll take
five.
the OG Scream out and put Insidious in there if I were
Okay.
to do it.
So a movie that just missed. I don't know if it's in yours. A movie that just missed my top five was 2017's It,
No,
the
it's not my top
remake.
5. No.
Yeah, yeah. So that just missed my top five.
Yeah.
My top five list.
Yeah, but I'm so mad I forgot Insidious. But anyway, so yeah, so if you wanna be official, it's Scream for me and Insidious for him. But if you wanna help me cheat,
Hmm.
Insidious is both of us. But that's yeah. I don't know why I didn't put that there. Number 3. This one might be a little bit because some of this director's movies is not as good as this one. Uh, it is
And
Get
let me
Out.
think. Okay.
It is Jordan Peele's Get Out.
For, I didn't think you were going there for some reason when you were talking about it. I was thinking of M Night Shyamalan.
No.
So I was
I
thinking like Split or something.
I don't like a majority of his movies.
Okay.
It's just I
Have you
don't
seen Split?
I yes. I think
Yeah.
it's good. I
Yeah.
just it's not great in my opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think James McAvoy is fantastic in that film. But yeah, Get Out is number 3. I just think it's different, and the whole time he's there, like you just get this eerie feeling off the entire family when they're asking him questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like what are you what's going through your mind, you sicko? Like they're asking him like, like, ooh, like your body is like very athletic. Like, do you do sports? Like the way they asked those questions was just like super like, get the hell away from me, man. Like I totally understood, what he was going through in that moment. And the way it was directed and whatever the sunken place, right? That entire like
Yeah.
it gave me like further vibes, just
And that's another thing too in Insidious.
yeah,
Like just like Scream it has influences. Like Get Out. There's moments that feel like Insidious with the further and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that entire family just being and I'm gonna give a shout out to Rose's actress. She was in Megan as well. I don't know, I don't remember
Yeah.
her name,
Yeah. I
but
can't remember her name. Yeah.
she was great in that film. Like as soon as the moment where he figured out that Rose was not on his side and she just acted like completely stone faced.
Mm-hmm.
That was incredible. Um, but yeah, that entire film was just very tense the whole way through, and I was uncomfortable almost the
Mm-hmm.
entire time, and that's why
Yeah.
it's in my top 5. I just think it's a different take, and it is Jordan Peele's best movie. Like Us and Nope does not even touch that. Like not
Yeah.
even
And
close.
I mean, you never know, but I'm not sure that Jordan Peele will ever be able to top Get Out.
No, I don't think so
Just
either.
him, he he blew everyone away when he came out with that movie, and a part of it was that Jordan Peele he was like doing like comedy stuff with Key and Peele,
Hmm.
so a comedy guy making his first horror movie and it being that good, it's crazy. Similar is it's not on my list, but it might eventually be down the road. But um, the was it Raka Raka would talk to me.
Yeah,
Same thing, how they were like comedy guys, and it's crazy how comedy guys can come in and make great horror, but it's happened with them and also Jordan Peele. So
yeah,
we'll see if he ends up topping it. I do like Us, and I didn't really care for Nope, but I did like Us, and it didn't reach Get Out for me, but I did enjoy that one. And he's supposed to come out with a movie next year in
yes,
late 2024, his
yes.
fourth film.
Hmm.
So hopefully it's as good, or we'll see. Maybe it'll be better than Get Out. That would be pretty cool to see in theaters if it is.
I mean, I will be seated nonetheless.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every movie that he comes out
It's,
with, I'll
even
be
even
watching.
if I didn't, it's the thing with Jordan Peele is that even if I'm not like over the moon loving Us or I didn't care for Nope, they're all very different movies,
Yeah, and I can
and
appreciate that.
which is cool. He has like original ideas and he goes for it as far as like the concepts and stuff, which you got to respect that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my number 3. What's yours?
My number three is the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, that's a good
Um,
pick.
mhm.
It's a good pick.
Along with Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger is my favorite slasher villain,
Hmm.
and this is just peak '80s slasher. Like, just some of the kills are so creative and cool. Like the kill with Johnny Depp, the one where he grabs, you see his claw in his arm grabbing Johnny Depp and
Hmm.
bringing him into the bed,
Yeah,
and then you don't see him again. All you see is just a pool of blood shooting out of the bed. Like just cool effects like that, and it
yeah.
being such a low budget, and then be able to pull it off is so cool. There's a documentary on a YouTube or YouTube on a Netflix where they talk about behind the scenes um with Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah.
and that scene was supposed to be even bloodier, but they just didn't have the budget and the effects to pull it off, so they went ahead and did that, which is cool. That and how they did it too is that apparently the room was actually upside down, like the set. It was upside down, so the blood was actually shooting down, but how they shot it, it looks like it's shooting up.
Yeah.
So yeah, just man, I love that movie. I still rewatch it. I have such fun with it, still rewatching it, and it's one of the greatest horror movies of all time, in my opinion, and arguably the best slasher of all time.
And fun fact, Lynn Shay, who plays Elise in the Insidious
Elise,
films,
yeah.
she's in that film. So,
Mhm.
and yeah, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. So good. Okay, so my number 3 is Get Out. Your number 3 is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mhm.
Number 2, it's the OG Halloween.
Okay.
I know, super different. I can get it. But it's just a classic. The way it's shot, the number of times that you see Michael just standing in the background like an absolute creep that he is, just stalking Laurie the entire movie. It's cinema. It's absolute cinema. And the fact is, it didn't have that much of a budget. It was very low budget.
No, I have to look it up, but if I remember right, it's like around 300,000.
Yeah, like
It's
not a big
really
of a
low
budget
budget.
at all. So the fact that this movie with that much of a budget was able to become as popular as it was and turn into a series like that, like the opening scene of that movie still gives me nightmares. Well,
Mhm.
I'm being over dramatic, but
Yeah, the
just
point of view,
yeah,
it's the POV to open the movie, iconic.
yes,
The music too, like that's another thing. It's the score, the John Carpenter score in that movie is awesome.
yes. It's what also makes the movie is the score.
Hmm.
Um, and it's good all around, and it's just so much fun just seeing Michael kill people, and it brings joy to my heart, and that's why I liked that's why I liked Halloween Kills a lot, was because he
It was
just
just him going on a
slaughters
murder
the
spree.
entire town,
Yeah,
and it's just fun to watch. And
yeah.
I wish they kind of took an approach like that in this movie, but especially for this day and age where you can have more budget for your movies, I'm glad that they
Hmm.
pulled it off, a couple years ago. But
Yeah.
this movie is just a classic, and I love it. So that's my number 2. You go for yours.
My number two is Conjuring 2.
Conjuring 2.
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of people would have Conjuring 1 over 2,
Hmm.
but I've always preferred the second one over the first one. I do love the first one. The first one's great, but yeah, I've always preferred the second one with bringing in Valak or the nun.
Valak.
Um,
Mm.
and yeah, I love the family too. I love the family too. It being in London, the setting, it's just it's so creepy, and the movie is just a freaking roller coaster ride from like beginning to end. Even the opening with the Warrens when she first sees the nun,
Yeah.
like from then to the very end, it's just such a roller coaster ride. And yeah, I love this movie, and I watched the first Conjuring a lot too, but the second one I watched a little bit more, and I've always preferred. And then unfortunately, the third one was just meh. So hopefully, with Conjuring 4, they please James Wan come back. Just fingers
Yeah.
crossed,
Let's hope so.
please.
Um, yeah, like you said with the third one, it's not bad. Okay, I mean
No,
it's more of
not
like
horrible.
a detective thriller type, but it's not as
Hmm.
scary.
Hmm.
Um, and the second one, I do like the second one. Um, I just think it's kind of like over the top sometimes, especially
Hmm.
with with the nun and what it's able to do. But I do think it's a very, very good sequel. Um, and funny enough, this leads me to my number 1. The Conjuring 1 is my number 1.
Okay.
Um, I know that might be a shock to a lot of people, but I think The Conjuring is what kind of made me fall in love with horror. Um, it's just I don't know what it is about it, but having all this happen in one house in the middle of nowhere, in what, New Hampshire, New Jersey, I don't even remember where it is, Maine, somewhere in the Northeast, right? Just
Yep.
a house in the middle of nowhere.
In the Boondocks. Yep.
Yeah,
So,
in the boondocks, right? Exactly. and just having some demon named Bathsheba. What kind of name is that? But having her, as the main demon, there's so many good scares in that movie, like the one on top of the closet, or the drawer, whatever you want to call it, or the wardrobe, rather.
Yeah. The
Um,
the hide and clap. The hide
yeah,
and clap
hide and
game.
clap one in the stairs.
Yep.
Look what you made me do. The maid in the laundry room. That was another good one. There's
Hmm.
just and then the full on possession one. Um, that entire possession scene. The one
Yeah.
nitpick I do have about it, as much as this movie brought me into the full genre of horror and how much I love it, I think that my main gripe about it is when Lorraine first shows up to the house and the mom shows Lorraine the picture of the family, and it's that stupid ass CGI backdrop in that photo is the only nitpick I have about that movie. If you
I'll have to
rewatch
look.
if you rewatch the first Conjuring, you'll know exactly. I'm gonna put it on this video here in the middle. I'm gonna show you exactly.
Okay.
It's awful. It just looks like they took a picture in front of a green screen, and then some dimbo who works for James Wan for that movie just decided to put just Toy Story clouds behind him, and there you go. Just it looks so bad, but other than that, it's
I've never
just a
noticed that.
fantastic film.
I'll go back and watch
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna put it on the video. Okay, people are gonna
Okay.
see it anyway, so you don't have to look it up. But other than that, that movie is just it's what brought me into horror. That's why I like it so much, and that's why it's my number one. But what's yours? I'm pretty sure it's gonna be something totally different.
Yeah. So my number one. Here, let me go and show you real quick.
Oh boy, this is this is where he
Can you see it?
I can't
It's
see it.
blurry.
I can't see
Okay.
it.
It's the original Halloween.
Okay, so yeah. All right.
Yes.
See, we weren't far off.
The original Halloween, to me, it's my favorite horror movie of all time, but also to me, it's the best slasher of all time.
Hmm.
Um, just the things they did with such a low budget and how iconic they made it. It's just, it's so fun to watch and so awesome to see. It's such an accomplishment. Like uh, John Carpenter, the score he has for that movie, the opening with the POV is iconic, and the title sequence is one of my favorite title sequences ever with the pumpkin
Yeah.
and the music playing. And yeah, just such a good movie. And the fall atmosphere, if I remember correctly, they didn't even film during fall. It was like during the summer. And they just made it look like fall, which
That's
it
incredible.
does.
That's crazy.
You would literally filmed it in October.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the slow build up to him just following her around and stalking her and just slowly taking out her friends one by one. And then some of my favorite kills, when he knifes the guy and sticks him up against the wall,
Mhm.
one of my favorite kills, and then he just looks at him like he's, I don't know, like fascinated
Yeah.
with him,
Admiring
with
some
his
piece of
lifeless
art.
body laying like being hung up there.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite shots, just in a movie in general, one of my favorite shots is when Laurie is seeing, all of Michael's victims, all of her friends, seeing their bodies one by one, and then she's up against the wall, and there's like a dark space up there, like a dark a closet or something up against the wall, and then you barely see the mask in the dark as he's just right there waiting to grab her.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of my favorite shots ever, and yeah, Halloween is a number one for me. And it moves around. Like at one point, Nightmare on Elm Street was my number one, and this was a tough list to make. This was tougher than the MCU one.
Yeah. It was because there's just so many out there, so many
Mhm.
classics, and I mean, I haven't seen any of like the old school horror movies. Like I don't think I would have the patience for those. Like 1950s and backwards, whatever.
Mhm.
But it was very hard. The MCU movies were way easier. I just boop 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 wrote them down. But horror movies were really hard because there's a lot of good ones. But yeah, those are our horror films. He's good with his list. I'm good with my list. If you want to leave your favorite horror movie down in the comments, please do. So we can have some discussion, which would be great. Get some talking going. So yeah. So as always, that's gonna be the end of this video here. Like and subscribe, the usual. Follow us on socials. Follow us on our Twitter, our official Twitter page. And without further ado, we will see you guys in the next video. I'm Cameron. This is Jacob.
I'm Jacob.
Oh, okay. I did it. We both did it at the same time. See, this is the growing pains. Work with us here. But anyway, we'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all.